Good day, learners! Welcome to the Discipline and Ideas in Social Sciences class. I am Teacher Claire, your Humanities and Social Science teacher. How are you today? I hope you are doing great. Before we begin, I want you to settle in your study area and make sure to secure your activity sheet and ball pen, and let me guide you this learning journey. I know that you're excited to learn, so let us begin. What do you think of these people? Yes, indeed. They are the social thinkers in the Philippines. But guess, who are they? For our first activity, I'll give you 10 seconds to complete the letters to form the correct names of the given pictures. Very good. The picture number 1 is Jose Rizal. The picture number 2 is Isabelo de los Reyes. The picture number 3 is Pedro Paterno. Picture number 4 is Emilio Jacinto. And the last picture is Andres Bonifacio.
These are the objectives of today's lesson. First, identify the Filipino social thinkers. Second, list their works, philosophies, ideas, and their contributions to our country. And third, appreciate the contributions of the Filipino social thinkers. What is the importance of studying the Filipino social thinkers? It opened the awareness of the people according to the various disciplines in the social sciences. It also provided significant contributions to the advancement of the disciplines of the social sciences. What is social thinkers? It is an individual in society who can be regarded as forefronts and visionaries toward improvement of society in particular time. It also regarded as great individuals who have contributed significantly to development of political, social thought, and philosophy. The first social thinker is Jose Rizal. Many wonder why he used Rizal while his father was Francisco Mercado. He should have been Jose Mercado, right? So why did Rizal's surname become Rizal instead of Mercado? The real full name of Jose Rizal is Jose Bonifacio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda. Jose's real last name Mercado during those time was a hot name targeted by the Spaniards. He changed his surname to protect his identity, so he just used his middle name Rizal instead, which was considered as ilustrado during the Spanish time and entails the benefits a Spaniard can get. Also, his brother Paciano Mercado was wanted by the colonial authorities for being an associate of the martyred priest Father Jose Burgos, and Paciano feared that Rizal would not be accepted under his real name. Second, there was Spanish law to change the last name of Filipinos those times. Mercado sounded a common name, and there were lots of people having that surname already who were not really relatives of Rizal. Jose Rizal was born on June 19, 1861 in Calamba, Laguna. He is tagged as the national hero or pambansang bayani of the Filipino people. He became a writer and a key member of the Filipino propaganda movement, which advocated political reforms for the colony under Spain. He was the Filipino thinker and the activist, and probably the first systematic social thinker in Southeast Asia. He gave us a different perspective on the colonial dimension of the emerging modernity of the 19th century. Now, let's move to the works of Jose Rizal. He published his first novel Noli Me Tangere in 1887. It was a diagnosis of the problems of Filipino society and a reflection of the problems of exploitation in Filipino colonial society. It was a reflection of exploitative conditions under Spanish colonial rule and enriched the Spanish friars. His second novel El Filibusterismo, published in 1891. It examined the possibilities and consequences of revolution. Let's talk about the social ideas of Jose Rizal. First, focused on necessity to promote a genuine propaganda campaign that will provide information about the Philippines and their people, their capabilities and achievements, aspirations, and moral rights. Second, Rizals Works explain the nature and conditions of Filipino colonial society during Spanish period. Third, provide alternative ways and requirements so that Filipinos can seek liberation from the colonial rule. And fourth, Rizals used emic perspective or successos. Three broad sociological aspects of Rizal's works. First, the theory of colonial society that explains the nature and conditions of colonial society. Second, Rizal's critique on colonial knowledge of the Philippines. And finally, his discourse on the meaning of and requirements for emancipation. These are some information about Jose Rizal. Rizal criticized the corrupt system of the Spanish colonial government, including its abusive officials. He blamed the backwardness of the Philippines and its lack of development as the main cause of the indolence of the people. The existing historical sources about the Philippines were mostly incorrect, prejudicial, unscientific, baseless, and irrational. Rizal was an advocate of human rights. This time, let's move to the second Filipino social thinker, Isabelo de los Reyes. Isabelo de los Reyes y Florentino was born on July 7, 1864 in Vigan, Ilocos. He was a prominent Filipino politician, writer, and a labor activist in 19th and 20th centuries. He was the founder of Iglesia Filipina Independiente and Independent Philippine National Church. He is known as the father of Philippine folklore, father of the Philippine labor movement, and the father of the Filipino socialism. These are the works of Isabelo de los Reyes. First, the Ilocandias in 1887. Second, the Artículos Varios in 1887. Third, Las Islas Visayas in La Época de la Conquista in 1889. Fourth, Historia de Filipinas in 1889. And the last one is 2-volume Historia de Ilocos in 1890. Social ideas. Criticized the friars' ownership of large tracts of haciendas and demanded for agrarian reform for Filipino farmers. During the American occupation of the Philippines, he openly attacked the Americans and defended the first Philippine Republic that was established by Aguinaldo. He is known for organizing the first labor union in the Philippines, the Union Obrero Democrática, wherein he was the president. He also founded La Redención del Obrero, the Redemption of the Laborer, the first labor newspaper in the Philippines. He also initiated the celebration of the first Labor Day on May 1, 1902. The third social Filipino thinker is Pedro Paterno. Pedro Paterno was born on February 27, 1857 in Santa Cruz, Manila. He is so-called the pacemaker of the revolution. He is a Filipino politician and famous for being a turncoat. He was also a poet and a novelist. He was another intellectual who had a great interest in early Filipino and their culture. Unfortunately, most contemporaries of Paterno, such as Rizal and De los Reyes, give little or no importance to the works of Paterno because of their absurdity and irrationality. The works of Pedro Paterno. Sampaguitas y Poesías Varias in 1880, the first Filipino collection of poems. Ninay in 1850, the first Filipino novel. Social ideas. Paterno's greatest contribution to the country was his role as a mediator in the Pact of Biak na Batu on December 14, 1897, which led to peace agreement between the Spaniards and the Filipinos, an account of which he published in 1910. The fourth Filipino social thinker is Emilio Jacinto. Emilio Jacinto was born on December 15, 1875 in Tondo, Manila. He is so-called the brains of the Katipunan, and he was a Filipino general during the Philippine Revolution. Works of Emilio Jacinto. Jacinto wrote the official Katipunan newspaper, The Kalayaan. He also penned the official handbook of the movement called The Kartilya ng Katipunan. Social ideas of Emilio Jacinto. He was one of the highest-ranking officer in the Philippine Revolution and was one of the highest-ranking officers of the Revolutionary Society, kataas-taasan, kagalang-galang na katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, or simply and more popularly called Katipunan, being a member of its Supreme Council. He is known as Otak ng Katipunan. Jacinto also joined the militia fighting the Spaniards. The fifth Filipino social thinker is Andres Bonifacio. Bonifacio was born on November 30, 1863. Bonifacio was one of the original founders of the radical group Katipunan with the objective of overthrowing Spanish colonial regime in the Philippines. Works of Bonifacio. First is the French Revolution. Second, Life of the Presidents of the United States. Third, Les Miserables. Fourth, The Ruins of Palmyra. And fifth, Wandering Jew. Social ideas of Bonifacio. He was a Filipino revolutionary leader, often called the father of the Philippine Revolution and considered one of the national heroes of the Philippines. He was also a contributor to the overthrowing Spanish colonial regime in the Philippines. He was also a contributor to the organization's newspaper.
What an interesting topic, right? I hope you have learned about our lesson today. You will have an activity to do for our second activity. My question is, if you were given a chance to be a Filipino thinker, what would be the title of your work? Do you think your work will have relation to the social issues that we're facing now, which is the COVID-19? Why? I know you have a brilliant idea to my question because you give your 100% attention. To test your learnings, I have a set of 5-item multiple choice tests that I will be giving to you now. Please follow and read the directions carefully.
Directions. Choose the letter of the correct answer and write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1. He wrote 2 novels that were a reflection of exploitative condition under the Spanish colonial rule and examined the possibilities and consequences of a revolution that enraged the Spanish friars. Who were these activists and Filipino thinker? Letter A. Andres Bonifacio. B. Dr. Jose Rizal. C. Emilio Jacinto. And letter D. Pedro Paterno. Great! The answer is letter B, Dr. Jose Rizal. Number 2. The following are the contributions of Isabelo de los Reyes except letter A. Founder of Iglesia Filipina Independiente. B. Father of Philippine folklore. C. Father of the Philippine Labor Movement. And letter D. Father of Philippine Revolution. Good! The answer is letter D. Father of Philippine Revolution. Number 3. Pedro Paterno wrote the following poems and novels except A. Sampaguitas y Poesías Varias. B. Ninay. C. Les Miserables. And letter D. None of the choices. Excellent! The answer is letter C. Les Miserables. Number 4. Which book of Pedro Paterno is considered as a first Filipino collection of poems? A. Sampaguitas y Poesías Varias. B. Ninay. C. Les Miserables. And D. Los Itas. Excellent! The answer is letter A. Sampaguitas y Poesías Varias. Number 5. Who considered as the brains of Katipunan? Letter A. Andres Bonifacio. B. Dr. Jose Rizal. C. Emilio Jacinto. And letter D. Pedro Paterno. Very good. The answer is letter C. Emilio Jacinto.
Amazing! You've made it! Hope you enjoyed our lesson today. Interesting topic, right? Alan Watts once said, when you find out that there was never anything in the dark side to be afraid of, nothing is left but to love. Once again, this is Teacher Claire. Take care and God bless us all.